Hello, greetings, and welcome everyone to another ASL week review with SirMoth, and I am joined as always by Lord Brad.
Oh,
And let's go ahead and get right into this week. This was a very exciting one, in my opinion, and you're actually gonna get the first match, Brad. So
yeah, yeah. I wish it was two better coaches, but you know what? I'll start with this one anyway.
yeah,
Um,
just get the little draft chaff off right away and move on.
Interesting match. Interesting match. Team preview looked pretty close in my book. Both squads looked pretty scary. A lot of wings flapping, team preview with Amanda Buzz and the Torn. But it was a good match coming in. Both teams were 1-1, I do believe, and at the moment. And it was pretty close throughout. The Slowbro lead, I think, was maybe a little surprising, letting it catch potentially something early. But Dragalge was a problem throughout the battle. Necrozma is just, wasn't a good Mon this week. It maybe intended to be, or maybe Ian hoped it would be, but it refused to comply with his wishes. Um, Ian brought a nice Titan Null set again. Titan Null's maybe his most valuable Mon so far, honestly. Continues to be a pretty good little Mon for him. Mega Sharpedo is very threatening. Um, Scar Fictini is always very threatening. I thought it was a good match. I was really excited to see Dragalge used successfully. I think this was Dragalge's first week on your
Yep.
roster, if I'm correct. So maybe a little bit of new Mon, I got to use it syndrome, but it really played well in this match. It's really strong, really powerful, hard to swap into. Um, it was a fun match. I thought it was a close match. And the end, there was a little bit of things back and forth, but honestly, the main issue for me, or the main thing that it came down to, was just move selection. If Ian had Earthquake on the Mega Sharpedo, his odds of winning were probably pretty decent. And without it, his odds of winning were pretty slim. The Necrozma not getting Charge Beam boosts didn't help, but I mean, welcome to Mons, right? What can you do?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do think. Uh, I mean, you don't just name your Pokemon useless shit and then expect it to do something. So that one's Ian's misplay on the Necrozma. You don't just do that and expect results. Uh, but in more seriousness, I do think that the Charge Beam was actually a good pick on Necrozma because it was the only way that I could see that Necrozma was going to beat out both Mandibuzz and Mega Slowbro, which were my two most useful switch-ins to it. But it clicked it like 3 or 4 times and only got a boost on the turn that it died, so sometimes Mons happen. I definitely know that I made a few misplays, but something that I think is really interesting, I think that on Ian's team, Mega Heracross would have actually been fantastic against me. A Scarf Heracross was one of the sets that I feared the most because even though I could deal with it with like my Victini offensively, I had pretty much no switch ins to it. Like even Landorus Therian didn't want to be taking hits from a Heracross, so I think that was actually one of the Pokemon I was most scared of. But that didn't come. Ian did end up bringing a Luxray set that was really good, though. I knew that if Luxray was coming, it was bringing Ice Fang, and I did switch my Landorus into Luxray, expecting the Ice Fang on that turn, or at least expecting it was about 50% likely or so. What I was not expecting was the Adrenaline Orb, which that just destroyed my Landorus Therian. There's no way I was gonna beat that Luxray set with a Landorus Therian on the switch in. And so that was definitely good prep from Ian. But
Yeah.
overall, just little didn't go in his way. There was a roll at the end on my Dragalge with the Ice Fang. Uh, I think because of Strong Jaws, Ice Fang. No, Earthquake would have picked up the KO, but But yeah,
I do want to compliment Ian just on his low tier usage. We've seen Type Null pretty good throughout the season. This is the second game that Luxray's made an impact. So nice to see a coach using the whole roster, even if this week didn't go his way.
yeah, definitely. The Luxray set was certainly the highlight in the game from my eyes.
It's a good match, though.
Yeah. So the next match was Melone versus TCP, and this was certainly an interesting match. Uh, Brad, I would like to ask you, what is the refund policy on the ASL? Because I came here expecting regular Pokemon Draft League, and then I watched TCP's games, and I don't think it's working as intended. How on earth is there a second Klefki sweep? How is Klefki the second kill leader with the best differential? And that's kind of blowing my mind. But Crabominable came out swinging at the beginning. TCP is just really on fire with all of those low tier picks. And early on, like turn 3, Zapdos went down to an Ice Hammer, and from there was a bit of switching around and stuff, but Melone said something along the lines of, I think I just lose here, and eventually Klefki did come in and set up. It had a Magnet Rise this week, which was really good. But yeah, Crabominable just got some massive kills with a bulk up Ice Hammer set, and Klefki finished the job off again, somehow.
Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time talking about this particular match because I think what happened on this one, honestly, and it was turn 2. Was it turn 2?
I think it was turn 3.
It's turn 3. And the Ice Hammer hit Zapdos, and Malone made the comment, I think I just lose. And I even spoke to Malone after the match, and I asked him, I was like, bro, I'm pretty sure at the end of turn 3, you just kind of checked out. And he's like, yeah, bro, he's like, I kind of wasn't paying a lot of attention to it at that point. I was just kind of clicking things to get it over with. And I think that showed through really well. And TCP's a great player. You can't, even if you have a good game against great players, it may not be enough. But especially when you check out turn 3, odds are you're going to get your face kicked in. And it was a 6-0 loss. And things happen. I've lost 6-0. I'll never forget. It was Gen 6, I think it was. Guy led Clefable. Turn 1, click Cosmic Power. And I realized I prepped for that not even one bit. And I lost turn 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, things happen. I think this was just a
You there? Sounds like you cut out.
You still hear me?
Yeah, you're back now.
Oh, okay, sorry. What I was trying to say is I think this was just a case of a good coach missing another good coach, and one got checked out early, and I think it was pretty evident.
Yeah, that's completely fair.
So match 3 was Peach versus Static. At this rate, 2 potential playoff teams, 2 guys that are playing really, really well. Static's team was it was pretty scary, honestly, with the Haxorus sitting over there and the Aegislash and the Cresselia. There's some real threats in that case. And then Peach, with the Incineroar, the Mega Diancie, he brought the Sand. This was a pretty threatening matchup at Team Preview, I thought. And it played pretty well throughout. The Aegislash, as it is just a problem. Sandaconda actually, I don't think it ended up getting a kill, but it did manage to get in the way a couple of times. Incineroar is really powerful. Incineroar is a mon that I keep trying to get my hands on and wanting to use it, and it just hasn't worked out for me and Incineroar yet. But
yeah,
one day,
here.
me and that guy's gonna hang out soon because it's really good and it's got a lot of fun options. Diancie is a really nice mod. I think did it get its first kill of the season this week? I may be completely wrong on that.
I think you might be right on that actually, but don't quote me on it because I also not 100% sure.
Can't say for sure, and if I did get it wrong, I apologize. But this is the first time I remember it getting a kill. So hats off to Peach for using his roster and not needing D'Ancy to sweep every week. But a really fun match, really keen match. I enjoyed it. Thought it was pretty close throughout. The zap cannon play was. I'm not really sure what that was. I don't know if I'm impressed or just like, why are you running zap cannon, bro?
Yeah,
but it worked.
That apparently it was for Mega Pidgeot, which I mean, fine. But I also think it was kind of just for that Mimi Alchemy quest. I mean, I'll be completely honest, I wasn't running Blunder Policy Miss Magius week 1 without that quest existing, so, you know, it worked out, kinda, so.
And it hit, right? You landed a zap cannon, you got a pair from it, I mean, take it, walk away, right?
Yeah.
Would have been, the fake out on the Incineroar was really nice, but it was a good match. Good match, well played by both. I thought both guys were impressive, and hats off to Peach for the win. But Stack's having a great season so far.
Yeah, definitely. This was a fun one to watch. There was a lot of back and forth. Both players had some really good sets in the match, and the Skarmory set this week was really interesting. Weak armor set with Sword Stance. Unfortunately, didn't work out, but always cool to see. So definitely enjoyed watching this one.
It was a good one.
All right, so match number 4. This is Brett versus Dirty Logic, and this is congrats to Dirty Logic, first win in all of Draft League for this player, and this was one of those games where, like you've been saying time and time again, Mega Charizard X sometimes just clicks buttons, and sometimes that's enough, and that was one of the cases. I mean, this wasn't a full-on sweep or anything, and there were a lot of important mons on Dirty Logic's team. The Primeape put in a lot of work. The Durant put in a lot of work, clicked 2 attacks, and got 2 kills. Also, Baton Pass on Durant put in a lot of momentum. But one of the biggest things was just Mega Charizard got 1 Dragon Dance up, got 2 kills, switched in when it was no longer needed, or switched out when it was no longer needed, and Brett, at one point, there was a misclick that led to Dragapult clicking Dragon Dance an extra time. It was at like +2, and instead of attacking and getting a kill, it went to +3 and died to Mamoswine Ice Shard. That didn't matter too much, considering the only difference was 1 point in differential, because Dirty Logic would have just sacked him on and come back in, and I started, but, things happen. But overall, a very fun match to watch, and again, hats off to Dirty Logic.
Yeah, congrats to him. First match, and so old, and I've been playing Pokemon so long, I couldn't tell you what year it was I played my first Draft League match. So to see a guy get his first Draft League win right here in the ASL server, kind of a cool moment, man. Kind of a cool moment. And we don't necessarily go out hunting for first-time players, but it's cool when you get them because they don't really exist. And to see a guy get his first win in the ASL is really neat, man. So congrats to you. Great win. Want to make it all about Dirty Logic. The Charizard set was good. Charizard X is a problem, man. It's just a problem. There's no way around it. The misclick from Brett, I think, mattered quite a bit. I don't know what his 4th move was. We never saw his 4th move, so maybe he had something there that could have popped the Mamoswine. I don't know. But it was a fun match, and congrats to Dirty Logic. Big win. 1 and 2 is in the hunt, bro. We're only 3 weeks in, so I said it last video, I say it again this video, but it's a weaker response, and it's going to start getting weaker as we go. But at this point, if you feel great, settle down. If you feel terrible, get your head in the game, because it is still early season. We're not even that far into it. Couple of wins from anybody, and they're right back in the hunt.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, match here. Which match is next?
Match number 5, Lille versus Oh. Am I right? I think I'm wrong.
I think match number 5 will be my match
Yeah,
versus
let's
Nemo.
move to match. I think we've got to move to match number 6 here.
Let's go to match number 6, and then we'll
Match
do a little
number
flopping
6.
around.
I'll let you do that one, and then we'll go back to match number 5 as mine, and you'll finish it off.
Okay, cool. So match number 6 was me and Nemo. Out of his mind. The dude played fabulously. His prep was really nice. God, I mean, what can you say? His floor just was really good. The way he played his Volcarona and his Blastoise was really nice. I got impatient with my Charizard. I didn't have to forfeit my Charizard to his Vileplume, but I did. My Latios set was pretty good. The Psyshock did honestly, a lot more damage than I thought it was going to do. It was a good match. I enjoyed it. I was happy to play the guy, but his prep was phenomenal and his play was really good, and he kind of kicked my teeth in. So hats off to that guy. I think he's now 2-1 at +5, so he's in a good position moving forward. I'm excited to see what else he continues to do. And as I said last week, I was looking forward to playing that group of Blastoise, Volcarona, and Zeraora, and that holds true. Those three are very, very threatening, and I'm excited to see what that trio can continue doing throughout the season.
Yeah, definitely. The Florges set with Worry Seed. I mean that was like absolutely perfect. Worry Seed preventing rest, and then making sure that Toxic stayed, allowing it to switch out of Gothitelle, and the Toxic was just great against your team because you were pretty much forced to bring Unaware on Clefable for all of the setup sweepers, and Clefable did its job for sure against that Volcarona, stopped that sweep that would have otherwise inevitably happened, but yeah, in general, I think the Florges was the main hero of the match, just spreading Toxic and doing good damage. And then the Mega Blastoise, of course, finished it off, as I think will be the common trend throughout the rest of the season. But overall, Nemo's prep was fantastic.
Key turn really was turn 40. I had the Latios in. I could have clicked the Psyshock and done a ton of damage to the Blastoise and then swapped back out and to my Unaware Clefable. And who knows how that would have ended up if I'd had done it. So I think it did kind of come down to one particular play surely leading to my defeat, whereas that one particular play might not have led to my defeat. So I don't know. It was a fun match. I really enjoyed playing them, and congrats to you, sir.
Yeah. All right, so going back to match number 5, and it'll be evident why we had to do all this switching around in a little bit. But this week was Lille versus Shadow, and this match, I mean, I'm just going to jump right into it because it started being evident turn 1. Breloom was a monster this game. So, we've actually labeled it as our set of the week, just choice banned Breloom. You can see turn 1 there, Bullet Seed doing almost half of Weezing's health with only 3 hits. And this trend continued for a lot of the game. Anytime Breloom came in, it was a huge problem. In the past, our sets of the week have been mostly like the really niche stuff or unexpected stuff, but that's not necessarily all that has to be covered in this slot. And in this case, I think it's really fitting because Breloom wasn't like a setup and sweep and win type of thing, but it was definitely one of the pivotal sets of this week. I think that it was certainly the best Breloom set that could have been brought. Wheezing was a good counter to it, but it was able to rip through that with Bullet Seed, so very good set this week. But to the rest of the match, this really had a lot of back and forth. I think one of the biggest things is I believe Milotic got its Flame Orb knocked off before getting burnt, and that always hurts to see. And then other than that, I mean, I would say that Breloom, of course, was the major Pokemon in this match, but there were a lot of cool sets on both sides, and it was actually fairly close in a lot of ways. I mean, it was a 2-0 after all.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what would have happened to the end, but if there was some way that Shadow could have got his Hydreigon versus the Altaria, we know that the Hydreigon had Throat Chop, the Altaria had Hyper Voice, so I don't know how that would have played out. But credit to Shadow and his really crafty Wheezing. I'm pretty sure he had an Assault Vest Wheezing that had enough coverage to kind of hit everything. And that Wheezing picked up 2 kills. And Galarian Wheezing's not a mon that I think of as an offensive threat. At least not just in general. You don't look at Galarian Wheezing and think, man, that thing's a heck of a breaker. But it was really good this week. Like, using his entire roster well, Altaria got a couple of kills, Breloom got a couple of kills, Corviknight got a couple of kills, but the Breloom was good, and it was powerful, and it caused problems, and it was a headache. The Alolan Marowak knockoff onto Milotic was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's maybe why Shadow forfeited his Milotic that turn 5 and said, forget it, I'll just Ice Beam this Breloom, because, I mean, without the Flame Orb, it was a lot less useful. But credit to Lille for looking and saying, hey, I got a Breloom here. I could ban this dude and have Bullet Seed, and then I can blow Milotic and Hippowdon out of the water. When you got a team that has those 2 dominant defensive mons, and you got a great grass type, you may end up with set of the week.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is the second week in a row that one of Shadow's downfalls has been a hard-hitting grass type that can just power through all of the bulk on the team. So maybe looking to, if there is a grass on the opposing team that can do something like that, making sure that that can be neutralized should be a top priority. I don't know that there was necessarily something that could have been done in prep against it this week, but something to keep in mind. And another thing, like you said earlier, if you're feeling down about being down, like Shadow is down 0-3, don't feel bad at all about that, because it is only week 3 and a lot of things can change. I mean, not to use you as an example, but I'm going to use you as an example. You're a fantastic coach. I think everyone in this league knows that you are a fantastic coach, and even you are 0-3. I mean, Pokemon is a really variable game, and you can definitely come out of it. It has nothing to do with... I mean, it does have some to do with, like, the prep and play, of course, but any coach can bring themselves out of a losing record, or if you're in a winning record, then don't feel comfortable.
When you start playing at this level, the ASL is good. There's some very, very good coaches here. But I think the average level of play here is good. When you start playing at this level, man, these are one-turn matches sometimes. Not every game, but some games are truly one-turn matches, where if that one turn had have gone differently, if you would have brought that one move different, the outcome may have been different. This is a high-level game that we're playing here. And sometimes, wins come in bunches, sometimes losses come in bunches, but oftentimes in these matches, especially as we're doing these weekly reviews, there's a lot of turns where I look at and I point to and say, that turn If
Yep.
that turn would have been different, who knows? Keep your head up and stay focused for.
Oh, I think you cut out again.
Did I cut out again?
Yeah, you did. Continue from keep your head up and stay focused.
That's it, man. Just
All right.
because you're not out. You're not out until the season's over. Until you start getting X's by that playoff locked box on the dock. You're not out till you're out, man.
Yeah, for certain.
Am I up for featured match or are you?
You are up for it.
All right, featured match of the week. This was probably the match I most anticipated coming into the week. IL Kid and Dravos. I think IL Kid brought Dravos into the league. I may have that completely wrong, and if I do, I apologize. I'm old. I can't keep everything straight. But if I did, IL Kid and Dravos were friends outside of the ASL. He brought Dravos in, and then they get to play here in this week 3, which I know is a hype thing. It's always more fun. There's always more on the line when you're playing a friend of yours. IL Kid, great win. Obviously, he's having a great season. Things in this match that, a little bit here, a little bit there, and I don't know how it would turn out. The Cinderace never hit the field. I may be wrong on that. I don't think Cinderace ever hit the field even once. And my God, Miltank was on the field forever.
Yeah,
I mean, I think I could have watched a movie, read War and Peace, and wrote a novel before Miltank finally got off the field. But we never saw Cinderace hit the field. Yeah, I just went through the replay. We never saw Cinderace hit the field, so we don't know what it was. But it would have been interesting just to see. There was a couple of turns there where this Pangoro was in on the Alamomola. I wonder if Alamomola would have just click scald and got enough damage to where Gengar would have killed with Sludge Wave. I would have liked to have seen that one-on-one, man, with Cinderace there. Maybe it's Scarf. Maybe it takes Rocks damage. If it takes Rocks damage and it's no HP, then you need a max roll on Sludge Wave to kill. I don't know how that would have turned out, but that would have been really, really exciting. It was still an exciting match. Hats off to the Zygarde 50. Didn't get set of the week, or featured set of the week, excuse me, but I mean, it still had the Dragon Dance Yachi Grass Knot for the Swampert, which was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Fun prep, high level match, high level play against two guys that are definitely in it. Our Kid's definitely in it, and Travos at 1 and 2 is still very much in the hunt. Really fun match.
Yeah, for certain. I think that something that may have happened. Well, no, I'm not going to say that. I would sound definitely ignorant. I was going to say that once the Torkoal went down, then IL Kid really focused maybe a little too much on setting up those hazards. But I think this was a case where the Swampert switch-in was actually a very good switch-in on the Zygarde. But yeah, that Zygarde having Grass Knot with the Dragon Dance was certainly an interesting set that put in a lot of work. The Tapu Lele put in a lot of work, and there was just a lot of Pokemon on both sides that put in a lot of work, like the Gengar towards the end. And there are so many turns that, like you were saying earlier, if one of the turns had gone differently, it would have been a completely different match. And I do think that a big moment is always when the spinner does go down on one side and hazards do go up on that side. But in this particular case, I don't know that I'd say that's what determined it. But that's always something to be watching out for. And I think that the extra chip here and there did maybe play a little bit of part.
Yeah. And smart on IL Kid, one thing that's been mentioned about Dravos' roster, although it is a very scary roster, he doesn't have really any hazard removal. And so he brought the Colossal, which is a fun mon. I like it. And another league that I'm playing in, I brought Colossal twice now. and have been able to win both matches with Colossal on the field. I think it's a good mon. But is it reliable removal? I mean, it'd be hard pressed to say, yeah, that's reliable removal.
Yeah.
And so Kid, I think, pointed that out in this particular match and took advantage of it. You can see he brought spikes. I mean, he brought him on that pretty much just set spikes. I mean, Garbodor can do some other things, but if Garbodor didn't get spikes and didn't get toxic spikes, you probably wouldn't see it in Draft League very often.
Yeah, probably not.
He brought a reliable rocker, and he really took advantage of that weakness on Rivos' team. But, Zygarde 50, Weavile, and Gengar, that's a nightmare to have to deal with, and IL was able to do it. Come out with a really, really tight 2-0 victory, so a match I really enjoyed, a match I was looking forward to coming into the week, and it lived up to my expectations. It was a fun match.
Yeah, for certain. All right, so do we want to go ahead and get on to the transactions that were made this week?
Yeah, you want to lead us?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can go ahead. I would like to actually lead us by saying, please don't look at this screen. I mean, do because you're watching the video, but at the same time, don't because I don't think I've ever constructed something more ugly. But moving away from that, there were some interesting transactions. I'm actually going to skip right to Melone just so that I can go back and let you go over your changes. But Melone switched out Garchomp for Mega Gallade, which I really like. I personally think that Mega Gallade is a superb Mega. I've seen it do a ton of work. I mean, the other league that you and I are in, the TBC, like every single league or every single division, Mega Gallade is one of the kill leaders. It's an insane Mega, and to go along with that, dropping Mega Gyarados for Dracovish, I also really like. And then finally, Musharna for Rhydon, I also really like. So I think these are some fantastic transactions. I think that it gives some just a lot more power. I mean, Dracovish is filling a lot of the same role that Mega Gyarados did, but I think that Mega Gallade is just the better Mega out of the two. And switching Musharna to Rhydon, I also really like. I'm not a huge proponent of Musharna, but Rhydon, super bulky. It's a good rock setter to make up for the lack of rocks with the Garchomp drop. And it gets some cool sets like Rock Polish, and other than that, I mean, it can just be a bulky thing that clicks Earthquake and Stone Edge and does its job. So I love all of these transactions.
Especially with no hidden power.
Yeah.
With hidden power, Rhydon is much less of a problem, honestly. It can still be good. I think Rhydon has a chance to be really good without hidden powers, and I'm really excited to see that thing hit the field.
Yeah, I am too.
Brett dropped Intercruel Lux for Braviary and Politoed. Braviary has a long history in the ASL, particularly in the off seasons, and to snag it up. Problem. Bulk up set. It's tougher to kill than you think. It's got a really nice ability to live hits that I feel like it shouldn't sometimes, and then I continue to forget how good Braviary is. Without return, it does take a knock. It's still great mon. Politoed is one of those mons that I forget about it, and then it kills me, and then I remember, oh yeah, Politoed's really good.
Yeah.
It's bulkier than you think it is, and the rain gives it that extra boost to its Scald or Surf maybe, are kind of unreasonably powerful sometimes. It's not something I particularly enjoy facing.
Yeah, I will say one problem that I can see is Tentacruel was by far Brett's most reliable spinner. And that switching to Braviary as a defogger, I don't care for that because now the hazard removal on Brett's team is Braviary and Scyther. That's gonna be really tough, I think. Tentacruel is a lot more reliable as a spinner, and I think that can really kind of bite. And then I'm not 100% sure about the Politoed, because, I mean, it definitely is good as a standalone Pokemon, and the Greninja can do a lot of work in rain, but other than that, the abusers are Swift Swim Beartic, maybe? So I'm not 100% sure about either of these trades, honestly. I'm sure Brett has a plan with them, but I don't know how much I'm seeing it.
I do like the Politoed move, and I know that he doesn't have necessarily a rain team, but Politoed is powerful, and it can do some things that I don't know, man. I've seen Politoed in leagues where it took hits I didn't think it would take, and it dealt damage I didn't think it would deal. That's a mon that I have a lot of faith in personally. So I'm not going to count Politoed out until I see it fail. But I do hear you on the removal though. That is not the best removal. But I will say this: there was a great coach that played in the ASL. I actually covered a video of his in my first ASL in review video. Vish, who won season 2, always had a thought saying that hazards can be a problem, and there are matches where I may want to remove them. In general, his stance was, I'm just going to attack the turn that they set up hazards. I'm always attacking. At some point, I'm going to get ahead. And so Brett's got a team that should allow him to be able to stay on the front foot, the momentum he needs. So maybe as long as he stays a step ahead, setting up hazards is going to be a big penalty for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's totally fair. Even in the draft review, I did say about this team, sure, the removal is a little weak, because even before this switch, it was a little weak. But how much does that matter if all of your opponent's Pokemon are dead anyway? So maybe that's just completely the strategy. Hyper offense, hazards don't matter. Bring heavy duty boots if necessary, and just kill the opponent. And I mean, that can work. That can always work.
Absolutely.
So
TCP, just want to say, scrap the Scolipede, man. But you never brought it.
yeah,
Me down, and I'm disappointed in you.
yeah, I'm a little sad to see it never hit the field, because Scolipede's one of my favorites, and I think that it can definitely do a lot of work. I do think that the Manaphy is really good, but yeah, a little bit disappointing to see the Scolipede go, but it's probably a good trade. It's one of those that, like you were saying a little while ago, I don't remember exactly which week, but sometimes you just have to make, oh yeah, it was your Steelix transaction. Sometimes you just don't really want to use them on, and so you switch it out for that reason. And I mean, it makes sense in this context, but you there?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. My internet's being awful tonight.
Oh, that's all right. It happens.
So the last one was my block. I made 3 transactions. I'm now out of transactions except for trades. I traded out Clefable, Electrode, and Drampa for Tapu Koko, Wigglytuff, and Palisand. I still think my original team with Clefable is good enough to win games. Good enough to win a lot of games. Something just wasn't working for me. And continuously, what I found is that when my Charizard Y died, I didn't have the offense I needed to push through the next several months on my opponent's roster. And for me, I know this is a bold statement. It's probably way too broad of a statement. But for me, even with terrain being devalued, Tapu Koko is the best modern all draft league. In my opinion, it just is. There's so many different ways. Speed tier it sets is incredible. Just Mon is bonkers. To see it on the free agent wire hurt my heart originally. In draft, I wanted to take it instead of Clefable. I had Clefable in my draft plan, and I was doing the try something new theme. And Clefable's a mon I've historically not liked. I was going to get it and try it. Well, I got it, tried it, and scrapping it, and I'm moving on back into Tapu Koko, which I know is going to be phenomenal for me. Excited to get back on the field with it. Really Tough's just something I've been wanting to try and see. It's got a big, huge HP stat with Wish. Everyone knows how much I like Wish, so it's a mon that's probably going to show up for me more than people expect, and I think I'm going to be able to use it. I was saying, I don't know, man. Just want another rocker. Clefable is a rocker, although I was never going to max on Clefable anyway.
Yeah.
I guess I felt like I needed another rocker, so I picked up Palisand.
Yeah, I think that out of this group of transactions, yours is maybe my favorite. I mean, I love Clefable for what it does, but I don't love Clefable as a Pokemon, if that makes sense. Whereas Tapu Koko, I think I can agree, even if it's not the best, after DLC, it's gotta be way up there as one of the best that's available. And on your team in particular, I think that Tapu Koko is really terrifying. I think that when I look at transactions and when I look at how powerful teams in general are, one of the first things I think is, how hard is this team to prep for? And I think that, yeah, Clefable has a role that it fills really well, better than any other Pokemon can fill that role. But Tapu Koko, that thing is hard to prep for. And I think in general, a team gets better if it's harder to prep for. And it's versatile. It's got all kinds of, it's got Play Rough now. I believe it didn't have that earlier. And that brings it to another level. It can very effectively run physical or special. It can run bulky. It can run so many things. It's so fast. So I think that trade alone, and then the other trades just to fill the corresponding holes in your team that were opened up, I think that these were all good trades.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, right? We'll see. You never know how it works out. On paper, I really like all of these moves. I think all four teams got better in my mind. But who knows?
Yeah, we'll certainly have to see. I look forward to seeing it. I think watching teams after they make important transactions is one of my favorite things, seeing how much that can change, and usually it seems to have a very positive effect. So that's always fun.
It's going to be interesting, and there's a lot of good coaches. These are the kind of the dog days of summer, if you will, like weeks 4 through, let's say 9. I think those are some of the hardest weeks in draft league because in this season, our league has 13 weeks. So right when the season starts, everyone's super pumped. Can't wait. Love the draft. We had a blast. Let's go get it. And then right before playoff comes, teams are making their push. They're trying to secure those spots. We're kind of starting to hit, not maybe there yet, but as we get into week 5 and into week 6, we're going to hit that lull of mid-season. And that's when you sometimes see coaches start to drop their level of intensity. So hopefully we don't see that. Hopefully the games continue to be great. I expect them to continue to be great. We've got some really fun matches on the horizon. I'm really looking forward to. We've got, I think, week 4. I was just giving the schedule a glance earlier. We've got Static versus IL Kid. That's a 2-1 versus a 3-0. That's a really fun team, or a really fun matchup. We've got TCP versus Peach, I believe, which is a 3-0-3-0 match. So there's some big stuff on the horizon. So I wouldn't go to sleep just yet.
Oh yeah, I'm certainly not. Every week so far, I've been excited going into it, and I don't know that that's going to really wane for me very much. This is, in general, just an incredibly exciting league to be a part of and to watch. Even if you're an observer from the outside, I definitely recommend you hop in. We have that link down in the description. You can join the Discord and you can be a part of the amazing community that we have here. So I guess that's probably it for all of the recap. You want to go ahead and sign us out, Brad?
Yeah, I'll just end this by saying we got some things in the works with some other YouTube duos and trios, maybe. There's some other videos that are coming out soon, maybe even this week. So keep your eye on the feed, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. See ya, everyone.